Hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share a heartwarming story with you titled, My Two-Tone Trouble, the Tale of My White and Black Cats. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Of course, if it's not your style, feel free to skip it, no hard feelings. Now, let's begin the story. I live with two balls of fur who have turned my peaceful life into a cat-themed sitcom. Their names? Snowball and Shadow, the most original names ever, I know. Snowball is as white as a fresh laundry commercial, while Shadow looks like he's just stepped out of a noir movie. They're yin and yang, day and night, coffee and milk, and together, they are chaos in stereo. One sunny morning, as I was sipping my coffee and trying to ignore the sound of yet another plant pot being accidentally knocked over, an idea popped into my mind. I would make them matching outfits. Yes, I sew. Well, technically I try to sew. My skills are somewhere between Pinterest mom and toddler with safety scissors, but I was determined. After all, what could be cuter than two little cats in custom-made clothes? Spoiler, absolutely nothing. So, I spent an entire weekend surrounded by fabric scraps, tangled thread, and the occasional cat paw stealing my pins. Snowball watched with polite curiosity, blinking like a tiny queen supervising her royal tailor. Shadow, on the other hand, tried to nap on the sewing machine. Several times. Finally, I finished two tiny outfits, one silky black bow tie vest for Snowball, and one crisp white shirt with tiny buttons for Shadow. When I held them up proudly, both cats gave me the same look, that universal feline expression that says, "Human, what nonsense are you planning this time?" The next morning was D-Day, or rather, C-Day, for cat couture. Step 1. Catching them. Easier said than done. Snowball moved like a ninja wrapped in whipped cream, and Shadow had apparently joined the witness protection program. I finally lured them in with the only thing stronger than their sense of dignity, snack bribes. I started with Snowball. She looked adorable in her little black vest, though she was clearly unimpressed. She strutted across the room with the cold grace of a runway model who hates her designer. Her tail swished dramatically, as if to say, "I am above this, but fine, I'll let you take your silly pictures." Shadow was a different story. He squirmed, hissed, and rolled over like a toddler refusing bath time. When I finally got the shirt on him, he froze for a moment, as if paralyzed by betrayal, then dashed under the sofa, leaving one sleeve flapping behind like a tiny flag of surrender. I laughed so hard I nearly fell over. There I was, crawling on the floor, trying to coax out a cat in a half-buttoned shirt, while the other one posed elegantly on the windowsill like a fashion icon. It looked like an ad for Luxury and Disaster, the cat edition. After a few minutes, Shadow finally emerged, not because he forgave me, but because Snowball had taken the last treat. The two of them sat side by side, one white, one black, both glaring at me like tiny judges on Project Catwalk. I grabbed my camera. Click. The photo was perfect. Snowball sitting tall and proud in her little tuxedo vest, Shadow beside her looking mildly traumatized but strangely handsome in his rumpled white shirt. The contrast was so sharp it could have been an art exhibit titled Balance and Betrayal. For the next few days, the house was filled with meows of protest every time I picked up a piece of fabric. I swear they thought I was planning another fashion show. Whenever I tried to fix Shadow's shirt, he'd bolt like a furry missile under the bed. Snowball, however, had taken a liking to her vest. Sometimes she'd even paw at it until I helped her wear it again. Clearly, she understood the concept of style. Then came the neighborhood reaction. When I posted their photo online, the internet exploded. Comments poured in. Where can I get those outfits? Are they models or magicians? I can't tell if the black one is plotting revenge or posing for Vogue. It was official, my cats had gone viral. Snowball basked in the digital glory, lying on her back as if awaiting her next photo shoot. Shadow pretended not to care, though I caught him staring at his own picture once or twice. I like to think that, deep down, he enjoyed it. The attention, the snacks, and maybe even the shirt, though he'd never admit it. Now, whenever I sew, I always make two things. One for me, and one for the twins, as I call them. They've inspired me more than any muse ever could, because where else can you find such dramatic personalities wrapped in fur and fashion? Sometimes, I catch them napping together, Snowball's white fur pressed against Shadow's black coat, and I can't help but smile. They look like a living yin-yang symbol, perfectly balanced, perfectly opposite, perfectly mine. Sure, they've destroyed my curtains, stolen my snacks, and once managed to lock me out of my own bedroom. Don't ask. But they've also filled my home with laughter, warmth, and a kind of love that only comes from tiny, mischievous creatures who think they rule the world. And maybe, just maybe, they do. The story of my two cats, Snowball and Shadow, might seem like a funny tale about feline fashion, but it also reflects something true about modern life. In a world where everything moves fast and perfection is glorified, we often forget the joy of small, imperfect moments, like sewing tiny outfits that don't quite fit or laughing at the chaos that follows. My cats reminded me that life doesn't have to be flawless to be beautiful. Their opposite colors and personalities symbolize balance, light and dark, calm and wild. Much like the balance we all try to find between work and rest, ambition and contentment. Sometimes, we're like Shadow, resisting change and new experiences, afraid of discomfort. Other times, we're like Snowball, ready to shine and embrace what comes. But both sides are necessary to make life whole. The key is to find humor in our daily messes and compassion in our imperfections. When we allow ourselves to play, to create, and even to fail, we rediscover what truly matters: connection, laughter, and love. So maybe, in the end, the best advice is simple: live like a cat, curious, brave, and unapologetically yourself.